Excellent. So thank you all for deciding to spend your evening with us and traveling across the globe on the other side of the planet. Let's go to Europe and explore the Christmas market by the rivers. Let's dive in. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Laila Levy. I own a boutique travel concierge and full service agency. And what I'm passionate about is to make other people who love travel and they wanted to see the world. They have dream vacation, and I love to make those dream vacations come true with helping, educating, inspiring, and also assisting them to put all the pieces of vacation together. My main specialty is putting customized and personalized trips together for my clients, and that would be taking care of everything from all the reservation guides, hidden gems, restaurants, all the fun things that you need to have as part of your trip. And if you're not following me on Instagram, my handle on Instagram is Travel Design by Layla. I deeply care about education and inspiring people, so I share tons of stuff on my Instagram. I highly, highly encourage you to check it out and to keep following my Instagram. And if you wanted to share your feedback with me as well, please feel free to do so. And before I continue, I'm just going to ask everyone to please mute yourself. We have about an hour, 10 minutes presentation. I have a surprise at the end. We have some very interesting draws for you tonight that Sandra was so generous to offer. And then I have another good surprise for you. So stay tuned till the very end. But without any further ado, I wanted to introduce you, Sandra, a veteran in the travel industry. So Sandra, please go ahead and introduce yourself to us.
Hello and good evening, everybody. And it's such a pleasure to be here with you this evening. So for me, my story is quite extensive. I started in the travel industry some 30 years ago and first started as a travel consultant in the industry, dabbled there a little bit and decided that this was my love. I definitely wanted to do travel. So having been in the industry for several years, I became a manager of an agency, which I later purchased. And if one wasn't enough, I decided to own a second one, and I traveled back and forth between the two. And then many years passed, and I decided that I kind of wanted to see what it was like on the other side of the fence. So I jumped over to the wholesale side of the business and worked with a coach tour company that had river cruising. And once I was introduced to the whole concept of river cruising, I absolutely fell in love. And for those of you that have never river cruised, it is a segment in travel in and of itself, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's truly what I'm passionate about. And I have to tell you, I am so blessed because I chose or I was chosen more so to work for Alma Waterways, and the owners are like family. We are, in fact, the entire company. We are all like a family, whether it's getting on our ships with our crew on board or being in our offices, which are based in Basel, Switzerland, or in Calabasas, California. No matter where you go, we are all connected in some way. So every single person that comes on board one of our vessels becomes a part of our family, and we look forward to having each one of you come on board as well.
Excellent. Thanks, Sandra.
You're
So
welcome.
we are going to move forward with our presentation. And for those of you who are new to the concept of river cruise, but you have maybe cruised before and you've tried ocean cruises, this is just a quick reminder that oceans take you to countries, but rivers actually take you through them. I'll get into a little bit of history later on, but part of the reason that's because a lot of civilization built around the rivers to survive. And that's why that going through river cruises, especially those ancient rivers. You will see a lot of civilization that it's so hard to see it if you travel otherwise. And it's very different than ocean cruising. Here, I wanted to share a little bit about some of those reasons that a river cruise is a good idea. First of all, because river cruise stops at a new port pretty much every single day, and there are itineraries, unique destinations that you can explore on it every single day. The sailing is very scenic because obviously you're going through very amazing, beautiful places. Also, this whole all-inclusivity experience, which goes back to the concept of most of your food, beverages, excursions are included. So it's not something that you have to constantly pay out of your pocket, and it's great in that sense that you really don't need to worry about anything. The other interesting part about river cruises is obviously one of the things that I'm very passionate about is maximizing return on experience. And river cruise would be a fantastic way to do so because you travel to a city center of that country through river cruises, and it doesn't take you days. You don't really need to spend a lot of time between commuting and trying to figure out flying or taking the train or anything like that. You basically get to your destination, you explore, you come back, and you relax at your very convenient suite, and then without even you know it, you're in your next destination. The other aspect of it is obviously one-of-a-kind experience, to go and see all those beautiful sceneries and those historical sites that you could see. The local taste and culture is something that's very interesting for river cruising because what the chef typically do, and I say typically because I guess depends on the seasonality, they try to actually source all the food from those local markets. So they go shopping, again, based on the season. So everything is so fresh and prepared based on the cultures and the traditions of that region, obviously with a great paying attention to the dietary restrictions. The luxury aspect and the fact that river cruises have really spent on creating a very convenient space. And it's a new option to explore a lot of those intimate corners of the world that it would have been so hard to travel and to see otherwise. And obviously that creates an intimate type of vacation. One of the other things that I guess for me is really important is not only you see all those iconic capitals of the world as you travel, especially on Rhine and on Danube, but you see a little cute villages that not maybe a lot of people would know, or getting to them would be more difficult or time consuming. And back to my first point, that a lot of those castles and heritage sites were built on the rivers. So traveling by the river would actually be super easy to see all those right to the corner without even taking any commute time to get into the downtown centers. And that's pretty much the main reasons that I'm a big fan of river cruising. And I wanted to take you to why we picked the holiday market cruise with Sandra. We came up with this idea, and Sandra, do you want to take us more into the holiday market spirit?
Well, sure, I can. And in fact, I've been with the company for some time, and I can tell you that. I'm sorry, let me just get rid of that. I've been with the line for quite some years, and I have in fact done 6 different holiday markets cruises, which is quite spectacular. So it's wonderful because when you're visiting the holiday markets, you're traveling back through centuries and you're walking along these cobblestone streets and you're going through grand cities and wonderful little villages. And as you're traveling along, you're seeing twinkling Christmas trees and wooden huts that are gleaming with all these handcrafted treasures. We can take you through areas like Budapest with the square where all the products sold in the market are guaranteed as traditionally handmade. Or maybe it's in Vienna with its impressive Christmas markets that seem to majestically appear around every single corner. Or Nuremberg, where we have the largest and the oldest Christmas markets in Germany. Or Prague with its renowned Christmas markets in the Old Town Square. There's so many others that we explore throughout your journey, and I know that you're going to absolutely love them as you explore along the way. And never to worry about feeling a bit cool, because of course the holiday markets typically will start right around the time of Advent, so the end of November and into December, and you can be walking around throughout the markets, and they're so festive with the sparkling lights and the sounds of the children dressed, etc., dressed as angels. They're singing carols and whatnot. There's the smells of the hot mulled wine, the roasted chestnuts, the sausages and sweets of every kind. There's timeless wonders, and they're all a feast for your senses.
So before we get started, I actually have a quiz test prepared for you to test your knowledge. So I'm going to launch that poll to see how well do you know this region of the world that we're going to explore. So bear with me. Okay. You should be able to see it. Okay, so the first question was, this city has one of the most famous Christmas markets by Danube. London, Salzburg, Prague, Vienna. Okay, so actually just so we're going to dig into it actually, but Prague is not by Danube. Vienna is the only one that is by Danube. Next one. Oh, I think that, okay, so that was the only one. I thought I had two. All right, so let's move forward. Sandra?
All right. Well, this map will depict the Danube River. And as you can see here, a lot of our journeys will begin in the beautiful city of Budapest. I highly recommend that you do a pre-cruise stay when you're in Budapest, and then that would have you in the country of Hungary. From there, we will travel northward, and our next stop would be in Bratislava in the country of Slovakia. So you're now into your second country. From Slovakia, we would enter into Austria, where we would visit Vienna. Our next stop would be Weisenkirchen, which is a lovely little village with its own little winery. And while docked in Weisenkirchen, we can take you from there into Dürnstein or Melk. We carry on, and some of our cruises, depending on the vessel you're on, would have you making a stop beside this magnificent castle in Rhine. And Rhine, we even take you into the castle and do a tour all through, and we have some activities there for you to enjoy. After Rhine, our stop would be in Linz. And in Linz, we give the opportunities to go and visit Salzburg or Český Krumlov, beautiful, beautiful places to go and explore. And then we have our ship traveling up to Passau. Passau a community where 3 rivers meet. And then from Passau, depending on the itinerary you're on, we could either be exiting the ship in Vilshofen or we could go on to Regensburg. Then we will do a post-cruise stay into Prague, and you absolutely must do Prague. In fact, the Danube River is one of my most favorite rivers to explore. And if you're a first-time river cruiser, I have to say that the Danube is one of the first choices for those who want to do a river cruise. So on that note, I could turn it over to you now, Leila.
Budapest is one of my favorite places, and typically if you're going on for a Danube river cruise, you do want to spend a little bit of more time in Budapest. And here are some of the reasons that it should be on your bucket list, obviously. So the Budapest is on Danube, as you know, we just talked about. The river itself and the Buda Castle, they're listed under UNESCO World Heritage Sites, as well as Hungary is famous for vineyards. A lot of people do not know. And the other thing that I actually really like about the Budapest is it's probably the only city that you will party in ruins. So they had this idea, or they wanted to they had a simple experiment of what do they do with all of these, abandoned buildings and doomed buildings, old cinemas, car parks, apartment building, and they turned them into cheap bars. And it was an experiment they started 15 years ago, and it's been taking the party scene in Budapest to the different level. And it's so fun and interesting that if you haven't really tried it, I highly recommend you do that. And then the other reasons that I like Budapest, and some of you may know that Budapest is known as the Queen of Danube. And the city, it has two main sections. If I wanted to simplify it, at least, that's where the name Budapest come from. And Buda is the hilly part of the town, and the Pest is the flat side of the town. And you can hike up the castle hill. You will see breathtaking views of the cities. There is one of the very interesting things to do is to go for an illumination tour that they take you over the river, and everything is so beautiful at night. And the other reason that Budapest is so cool is it's because of the hot spring. It's turned into a spa playground. Hungary has more than 1,000 hot springs, thanks to this, because the layer of the earth, it's very thin crust in that area, and there are so many thermal baths in that part of the world, which is super interesting. The other reasons that Budapest is cool, it's because they actually created a mall for food. It's a 3-layer level food market that is so super interesting. And one of the other interesting things to do is to go and hop on those at the tram number 2, which if you've probably been to Lisbon, you probably have seen such a similar thing. It takes you to one of the very stunning journeys in Budapest, and it's a yellow vehicle dating back to the Hungary's communist era. Back to you, Sandra.
Sorry, just had to unmute there again. So this is one of the most beautiful things that you'll see during the holiday markets. And it's the holiday fair in Budapest with a central location on the plaza. And this is located right in front of the Gerbode Coffee House. So around 100 of the stalls are actually set up around the slender Christmas tree that's decorated with different colors of ornaments every single year. And I can tell you, I have been there, this particular market I've been to 3 times. I have seen it in blue and white, just like the train that you see here, the tram that Leila just spoke of. I have seen it done in red and green, and I've seen it in red and white. And it is really a feast for the eyes. So not only do you get that lovely illumination tour when you're on board one of the river cruises, but you get as well the beautiful Festival of Lights when you're on this great train. Next slide. In Budapest, there's more than 10 Christmas markets that you can choose from right in the center alone. And the focus is on the authentic Hungarian folk arts and traditions. You're most likely going to find some fine quality handcrafts rather than the mass-produced Christmas things that you would find as you're browsing. Okay. Our next stop, Bratislava. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever been to Bratislava. It's quite an interesting community for sure. And for me, one of the things that stands out the most when I've been here are all the different statues and figurines. The month before Christmas, the center square of Bratislava is decorated with a huge Christmas tree that's lightened by 1,000 of colored lamps. There's tens of wood stands that sell souvenirs, they have presents, and they have decorations there as well. So thousands like to reach the fair and buy their presents, meet their friends, drink the mulled wine, and taste the local delicacies. There's often concerts right in the square with live music or choir singing, or even theater shows are held in this area. Okay,
I wanted to add a few things about
perfect.
Bratislava, and some of the things that is interesting for me is from the Middle Ages through the 18th century, Bratislava was at some point part of Austria, at some point was part of Hungary. So it has a lot of kings and queen. They settled in those castles, and it's so interesting that when you're walking into Bratislava, because of all those different, I would say, things that happen in the history, you would see a lot of architecture, different types of architecture. It looks like layers of cake, that each layer has its own style and its own architecture, and that is definitely one of the things that stand out for me in Bratislava.
And of course, there was always Kumul as well. And you might remember Kumul, the
Yeah,
worker, the statue that's coming out of the ground, the head.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's always said when you go there to rub the head of Kumul, the workman that's coming out of the ground, for good luck. So
Now, as part of this journey, so if I can take you back to where we are right now, so let me actually take you back to our map. So we started in Budapest, we now explore to Bratislava, and our next stop is Vienna. And I don't really need to tell you much about Vienna, except that, it's apart from all those family stories, the classical music, composition, musicians in that space, the Mozart, the Beethovens, and all of that stuff. This place, this city is so, it's one of the best cities to see the Christmas market. And it's one of the, if I'm not mistaken, it has about 20 or 25 Christmas markets in Vienna during that time.
mhm.
Sandra, do you want to talk more about different Christmas markets in Vienna?
Sure. Well, there are different markets. As you mentioned, there's over 20 of them. And the old Viennese Christmas market, which you're looking at here, is in the city center. And it's solely committed to tradition. And I can tell you from walking through here, it is amazing. They are literally roasting chestnuts on open fires. The smells in the air are just so incredibly rich. And there's music playing, and you have this beautiful backdrop with the architecture. The Christmas markets were held here as early as 1772. And today it's a place that you can buy handicrafts and glass decorations and traditional mangers and ceramics and that sort of thing. The festive Advent music, it can be heard on the square from 4 p.m. right through the night. So Vienna is preparing for the 250th anniversary of Beethoven. So there's a lot of celebrations that will be had for sure this year. And that is actually the town hall, the Rathaus Christmas market in Vienna. One of my favorite things to do if you're in this area is right across the road. It will take you right into the heart where all the shopping area is, also where the stables are for the Lipizzan stallions. And I truly enjoy taking one of the horse and carriage rides throughout this area of Vienna. And then you take the one that will have you ending right at the Rathaus here, where they have this particular Christmas market. And what a beautiful way to see the city and to be able to arrive with this as your backdrop.
So now we are going to take you to more of the wine region of
Mhm.
the country.
Absolutely. And this is Dürnstein. And Dürnstein is such a beautiful, beautiful area. It's impossibly photogenic curve in the Danube. And it's not only known for its beautiful buildings, but it's also known for the fortified, or yes, the fortified castle that you can see above the town there. This castle was, in fact, home, or rather where King the Lionheart was kept captive for a good many years. So the village is filled with Baroque and medieval architecture, and it was also known as the Pearl of the Danube. Now, if any of you like apricots, I can tell you that this is apricot heaven. When you're here, you can not only enjoy the many different wines, and they have some absolutely delicious wines here, but you can also take in some nice apricot brandy, maybe pick up a little jar of apricot jelly or apricot jam to bring home with you, because they are well known for their apricot specialties. And then we move on to Melk. Melk is located right in the heart of the Wachau Valley area. And here you see the Benedictine Abbey that's perched high atop the hill. The abbey was almost destroyed by fire back in 1297, and then it was rebuilt in this Baroque style in the 18th century. The city itself, or the village itself rather, you'll notice on the buildings that they are all painted. And the paintings on the sides of these buildings actually depict what the building used to be. So it's definitely a destination that's filled with a lot of history. And when we're there, if you do want to go to the Abbey itself, we do a wonderful tour through the Abbey, which is still inhabited by monks to this day. They have their own winery there, in fact. So while you're there, you can have a taste of their wines, or maybe just go and explore through their library. Their library is one of the oldest in the world and has some of the oldest books in the world, and it really is something to see. And then we'll take you through Spitz in Austria, which is another wine region, as we travel on our way to Linz. And Linz is the third largest city in Austria, and it was well known for its Linzer Torte, which is the oldest cake in the world. The first recipe for Linzer Torte was established in 1653. So that's quite old for sure. So that's a little bit about Spitz and Linz as we travel. And then once in Linz, you'll have the opportunity then to go to Salzburg. Now, Salzburg is the birthplace of Mozart, and you can even see the house where he was born. It's a beautiful backdrop for The Sound of Music, which was in fact filmed there. And the reason that it's called Salzburg, Salz stands for salt and Berg for the mine. So it was given its name because of the salt mines. You may be familiar with a energy drink that is well known throughout the world called Red Bull. Red Bull was actually created in Salzburg, Austria. So there's a little bit of modern day history for you. And in Salzburg, they have this wonderful Christmas tradition. It's called Krampus Run. And Krampus Run was the demonic looking companion to Saint Nick. And he would run through the village looking for those who were naughty in the previous year so that he could punish them. So imagine that. It's quite a tradition to see this if you're traveling through the Salzburg area.
I just wanted to add on the Salzburg that Salzburg was one of the cities that was flourishing back in a time, again, because of those salt mines. And salt was not used as mainly for cooking, but it was also used for preserving a lot of meat that back in the day, I can, if we can all go back to all those ages, million, not million, but so many years ago, that they actually had to use a lot of salt for that purpose. And that's why that the city was one of the richest city in Europe, flourishing absolutely because of those salt mines. And a lot of you probably would be familiar with The Sound of Music, which was filmed close to Salzburg.
Mhm.
So this is another view of Salzburg. Do you want to add any other points here?
Well, one of the fun things that you'll do, speaking of Sound of Music, I'll just let you know, you might recall the fountain that Julie Andrews danced around and sang around. So when we go there, we love to take our guests and have them dance around and sing around the fountain in Salzburg. And trust me, on the coach ride back to the ship, everybody will be singing those lovely Sound of Music songs. So something to look forward to.
Excellent. So let me take you back to where we are, because it's super important that you know which part of the journey we are. So we started from Budapest, Bratislava, Vienna, Dürnstein, and now we basically passed this area. So Salzburg, as I mentioned, it's not by Danube. And Sandra, do you remember how far it's
It's a fair little drive. We'll start partway. It is about a 3-hour drive, 2.5, maybe hour drive from the ship to go there, but well worth the drive. And we do spend a full day in Salzburg. So you do definitely get to capture the essence of Salzburg.
And you typically have two options to explore nearby cities. So one would be Salzburg, which is here. The other one is Český Krumlov in Czech Republic,
Correct.
which I want to take us back to where we were on Český Krumlov Christmas market.
There you go. All right. So Český Krumlov is really, if you think about it, it is like a miniature Prague. And one of the things, when you do leave the ship to go to Český Krumlov, if you decide to do this particular excursion, you will need to take your passport because you are crossing borders. It is truly a bohemian city, and you'll notice the water. It's like a moat that's around the center part of the city, and there is an old fortress wall that you can go up and walk around as well. Very picturesque, and again, as just an area that is filled with history.
I went to Český Krumlov during the summertime in one of my trips, and it was absolutely stunning, beautiful, so beautiful. I can't even describe. And then we come to Passau, which is Sandra. Do you want to tell us more about the Passau Christmas market?
Sure. Well, Passau is known as the city of three rivers. We have the Danube there. It's joined by both the Inn and the Ilz rivers, and it's quite historic, in fact. The town itself can trace its roots back to the 2nd century BC. It was first founded by the Celts and then the Roman town for 400 years, and the city traded hands quite a few times. Now, the market is right in the center square here, and there's all kinds of little shops and little restaurants and whatnot that border in the main buildings that are right there. So I know that our guests do particularly enjoy this market just because of it's so easy to get to, and it is very diverse in what it has to offer.
And I added this picture because I wanted you to see that we're really serious about three rivers joining. And it's absolutely beautiful to see this, this city. And then, so now we are gradually getting into Germany.
We are. Next stop, Nuremberg, and that beautiful church that you can see in the background. Nuremberg is a famous destination, in fact, for poets and writers. And Hitler, it was one of his favorite cities and a Nazi hotbed. So the enticing aroma of gingerbread, mulled wine, grilled sausage hangs in the air when you're at the Nuremberg Christmas markets. Not only is it one of the greatest places of importance for offering traditional wares, but it's also one of the areas most known for sustainable development. Would you like to add anything there, or you're good?
No, I think I'm good, but it's
Okay.
just for me, one of the most fascinating thing is like every little alleyway you go, there is a Christmas market in it.
That's exactly right. Every street you turn, you'll get another market. They spice things up a bit as well, and they do have blueberry mulled wine in Nuremberg. This one is the Heidelbeer Glühwein, as it's known, and it's alongside a host of traditional delicacies like the Nuremberger. I can't say the word Lukatchen. Sorry, and I apologize. I'm not German. It's a chocolate covered gingerbread, basically. And they also have their legendary Nuremberg grilled sausages. And these are delicious. I can tell you that we have those on the ship as well as you can enjoy them in the market. These are small sausages. They're served several at a time, and they're based on trademark recipes that date back to 1497. Imagine. So, guten Appetit.
A lot of people think that going along the Danube River and visiting all these Christmas markets, which could look like each other, but again, it doesn't, because you're literally traveling across different countries, different traditions, different types of food. There may be some similarities, but obviously the way the Germans do their sausages is very different than what you see in other places. So all of these little towns and little villages, they have their own character and style, and it's very, very unique for that city itself. And then moving along.
Regensburg. Regensburg Christmas markets. In Advent, the streets and squares of this UNESCO heritage area and are one of Germany's best preserved medieval cities. So it's interesting that we've gone from this we went from like a Baroque architecture to a Baroque medieval, and now we're right full on into the medieval cities. It's absolutely filled with sparkling lights, and it is the oldest city on the Danube River, which is quite exciting. Now, one of the things that stands out with Regensburg for me, and it's kind of a different thing, I suppose, but there's over 500 bars in Regensburg, and it has the largest concentration of drinking establishments in Germany. So imagine that. You can imagine how festive the Christmas markets are when you have that many bars per capita. 1/5 of the population is actually students. So in the city, there's so many things that you can do. You can visit the Gothic Cathedral. You can go to the Old Stone Bridge with its 16 arches. While there on the one side of the bridge, you can climb the clock tower. You can see a Roman wall here, or you can enjoy nibbles at the oldest sausage house. Lots of things to do when you're in Regensburg, for sure.
Excellent. And now, before we move any further, I have some quizzes for you. And for a person who answers correctly to these, to both of these questions, I have some gifts and some draws here. So I'm just launching the poll. If you have listened carefully, you should be able to see, to answer the right question. So the first one is, the Danube flows through Slovakian capital, Bratislava. What's the German name for Bratislava? And the second question is, apart from Vienna, through which major Austrian city does the Danube flow? All right, I'm going to give you another 10-second. Okay, so the correct answer is Pressburg for the first question for Bratislava. And the answer for the second one is Linz. Oh my God, so many of you answered that one correctly, but I have to figure out who those people are, which I do, and then I'll do the draw. But let's move forward. Here is something that Sandra mentioned, but I wanted to expand a little bit on some of those traditions that exist in Austria and Germany, which is a little bit different from what we have here. So the concept of St. Nicholas. So St. Nicholas is basically he goes in the middle of the night on December 6th and leaves little treats and coins. So visit a lot of the kids at different places, their schools, their home. So it's sort of like a gesture for good behaviors by the kids. And the Krampus is this little kind of like horrible face mask person, which a lot of people think that this is sort of like a Halloween thing. It's not. So it's one of the traditions for Austrians, and again, it's very, very different than how sort of like Christmas is celebrated here. Sandra, do you want to add anything?
We talked about Krampus earlier. Actually, he is. If you think about Christmas time, the Christmas list: who's been naughty and who's been nice. Well, who's been naughty will be visited by Krampus, and who's been nice will be visited by Sinterklaas. So that truly is the difference between the two.
For
And
sure.
when you're traveling with us, that Sinterklaas, actually not Krampus, we don't bring him to the ship, but Sinterklaas does come and visit the ship, and the crew get to decide who's been naughty and who's been nice, and then Sinterklaas will leave a gift according to behaviors.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so moving on. So basically, the river cruise, so Prague, as you probably have noticed, and I'll take you back to our Danube little map again. So the Danube part finishes here in Germany, but one of the things that I highly recommend you do after that would be to go to Prague. And apart from Prague and how beautiful this city is, and a lot of different reasons you should be visiting Prague. One reason to visit Prague is because in a lot of cities in Austria and Germany, they shut down the day before their Christmas Eve. So markets down, everything is down, they close down and they want to spend time with their families. But in Prague, the Christmas markets are actually open till early week, the first week of January. So it would be great if you would start in, again, Budapest all the way, and towards those days that the rest of the markets would be closed, you spend more time in Prague. And Prague, it's again something like Budapest. It's been on a lot of people's bucket list because it has all sort of like features that you wanted to see and have. It has the cultural component, it has the fun part, it's fairly cheap, and it has one of the greatest Christmas markets there. Sandra, do you want to talk a little bit about the Christmas market before I talk more about the Prague?
Sure. So the Christmas markets in Prague, the one beautiful thing is a lot of people confuse and think that there's actually only one market when in fact there's two. And the beautiful thing is they are literally 5 minutes apart. So you can go to the first one, which is on Wenceslas Square. How appropriate. And then the second one, which is in the Old Town Square. So I think that you would enjoy in Prague, honestly, any time of year, whether it's during the markets or not. It's just a fascinating city to go and to explore because it does have a lot of things to see and to do while you're there.
One of the things that a lot of people get when they travel to Prague is this Triddling. And it's interesting that I was talking actually to a local person, and they were saying that this is not really our tradition, and we don't know where it's coming from. Our grandmas certainly did not make this, but this is something that we all associate with Prague, and we traveled there, and it's something that even like it's even expanded to everywhere else. Plus, you can even see it in somewhere in some cities in Toronto. And the other thing that's been that is you can see a lot in Prague is the barbecue pork. Here I put some interesting pictures of Prague and the castle and the dancing house, their famous clock. But I also wanted to talk about a little bit of history and Franz Kafka. And for me, one of the other things that stands out for Prague, it's for sure the one of the Holocaust Museum and the cemeteries, which again, it's not probably as extensive as you would see in Poland, but it's a very, very well done, interesting memorial in Prague. Sandra, do you want to add anything?
No, but just that the astronomical clock is actually located right in the Old Town Square, and it's still a functioning working clock. So when you're in the town square, be sure, the old square rather, be sure and locate this. It's on the corner of one of the buildings or one of the cathedrals, and it is just an amazing thing to see when it actually goes off.
For sure. And this is another beautiful scenes from one of the Christmas markets in Prague. And one of the other things that was interesting for me with Alma Water Ways, that it's, again, it's one of the things I certainly like is the whole, you know, the Christmas Carol, and the fact that when you get into the ship, there are Christmas trees, and you could even spend some time in decorating those Christmas trees. And it's all sort of like, you know, the Christmas feeling surrounding you from inside the ship, and obviously all those Christmas markets, which are one of the best ways to spend Christmas in Europe. Absolutely. So I just wanted to put a picture on to remind that that this is very, very interesting thing to do during Christmas.
Mhm.
Sandra, do you want to add, or did I cover it?
No, you've covered it because there's a lot of festivities, not just off the ship going through the markets, but there's a lot of spirit that's garnered when you're on board as well.
For sure. And we'll be sending, I'll be sending some recipes, as Sandra mentioned. That wine region is also very famous for apricot, and there is a very famous pastry dish that it's in Austria is famous apricot dumpling. I guess a lot of us have been very familiar with schnitzel, and the Sachertorte is something that I'll be sending a recipe. I know a lot of us are looking for some interesting ways to entertain ourselves and come up with ideas, and that's an interesting recipe to make. Okay.
All right. Well, I just wanted to mention too, Leila, we've talked a lot about the Danube tonight, but the Danube isn't the only river that you can travel on and explore the holiday markets. On the waterways, we also do some Christmas markets on the Rhine. And you can see here from the map, you can start in Amsterdam and travel down the Rhine River in a southerly direction and end in Switzerland and extend your stay with post-cruise options, or you can go the other direction as well. So both rivers, very nice rivers to go on. The area is a little bit different, so you may want to do one year and do one the next. Of course, with the Rhine, you do go into some bigger centers where the Danube tends to be more of your quaint villages with a couple of bigger cities. So I highly recommend either one. And with that, maybe why don't we show them a video?
For sure. We initially wanted to talk both about the Danube and the Rhine, but then we felt that we wouldn't do the justice to them if we tried to mix them together. So we just focused on the Danube, and we briefly mentioned the Rhine. But I have a video here that I am going to play.
I would sing for everybody while this is playing, but that probably wouldn't be a good idea.
Oops, sorry. Can you hear the video?
No.
No. Okay.
Well, it's a very short video, so at that, at least it'll give you an impression of what you can expect when you're on board and what you might see when you're visiting a holiday market.
I can tell you the background music is a really lovely, motivating music. So it's I'll be sending the recording video, and I hope that it's then captured in that one.
And this, of course, being Budapest. Or Budapest. Oh. And Vienna. And just a note on the wine that they're drinking there, when you're traveling with On the Waterways, we do experience hand select wines from the regions that we're traveling through so that you get to experience some of the best vintages along the way.
Mm.
And Vienna. And chestnuts roasting on open fire, and then you have them making crafts. And it's so nice that the handcrafts are handcrafted. They aren't multi-produced. And there you go.
All right. So now let's take you a little bit inside Alma Waterways and the inside feeling of what does that mean?
All right. Well, a lot of you are probably wondering how we got our name, and Ama is actually a derivative of the word love, amore. And it was the owner, Rudy and Christine's love of the waterways that got the business to where we are today. We are a small company. We are family owned and operated. We do nothing but river cruises. The only thing that we deal in is river cruising. So I like to think that we have this down pat. Our ships have been highest rated ships traveling throughout Europe year after year. And we are part of a culinary organization called Chaîne de Rôdesseur. So this means that we do bring on fresh ingredients every single day. So we have an award-winning dining experience. Our crew, I can't say enough about our crew. Constantly, we have accolades about how beautiful they are. There's shore excursions included, and we do include all of our shore excursions so that you don't have to put money out of pocket when you're traveling with us. We have guest-focused innovations. We, as I said, are exclusive to river cruising. And when you're on board, we have an app that you can load that allows you to have all of the things at your fingertips so that we save the environment and don't have to produce a lot of paper. And we do have complimentary Wi-Fi throughout the ship, whether you're using your own tablet or smartphone or laptop, that sort of thing. But all of the staterooms are also equipped with a full computer system that will give you first run Hollywood movies. It will give you satellite TV. There's some music on there so you can listen to music as you get ready, that sort of thing. And as well, you can access the Wi-Fi, all complimentary. We also have a wellness program on all of our ships, which our guests truly enjoy. And the wellness activities take place outside of any other activities that we're doing on board. So this could be doing some core strengthening early morning, coming to the lounge and joining us for that, or maybe it's doing some champagne yoga later in the day, that sort of thing. But we do have a host of activities that are focused around the whole wellness aspect. And overwhelmingly, we have been voted time and time again as the best river cruise partner to have by all of our travel industry partners. So that's something that we're very proud of as well.
Excellent.
So you have here your floating 5-star hotel. And one of the interesting things about Ama Waterways is that we have 24 ships. And of the 24 ships, 21 of them we own, and every single ship that we own is fully paid for. So the company is very financially secure. So you can take comfort when you're booking with us that you know we're going to be around for a very long time and that we do take very good care of the vessels that we keep in our fleet. And your ultimate retreat, we do really focus on luxury. So the vision that Rudy and Christine had when they started the company was to build a luxury riverboat. And with these riverboats, we would carry a low capacity of guests on board so that you could really enjoy larger, more spacious staterooms. And we also have integrated some nice facilities and amenities that you can enjoy when you're sailing with us. We are known for our signature twin balcony concept. So you can see here over behind the chairs there, if you open that sliding door, you have what's called a French balcony. And then of course you can access your outdoor balcony where you'll find 2 tables and a chair, and it's very comfortable. If it's not very cool out when you're doing the holiday markets, you can certainly take advantage and escape and have maybe some hot mulled wine when you're sitting on your balcony. Service with heart. And this is a nice picture of our crew from one of the vessels. We typically have between 63 and 68 crew members on board, and our capacity is between 140 and 155 guests. So you can see that you're absolutely pampered, and there's not a thing that they wouldn't do to help you out. They're there to really ensure that your onboard experience is exceptional.
This is the slide for me. I'm very
Mhm.
foodie,
Good.
which I think you talked about this, so I'll move forward.
And adult beverages, a lot of people want to know about that. Every morning when you come to the breakfast, you will find the juice bar where we have the champagne chilling, and it's self-serving. And every single lunch and dinner, we do have the wine, beer, and soft drinks available that are free flowing. And we do happy hour. We call our happy hour sip and sail. So every evening, the hour before dinner is served, we will invite you to the main lounge where we do a briefing on the next day's activities. And during this time, you can enjoy a host of cocktails and hard liquor drinks or champagne, wine, beer, etc. Our restaurants, we have multi-dining venues on board. So of course, the main restaurant where we will serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We do have the wine rooms as you enter into the main lounge that you can certainly go in a small group and have a bit more of an intimate dining experience, but still enjoy the menu of the main restaurant. And then we have our chef's table restaurant. So what would be a cruise without having a specialty river or a specialty restaurant rather? And with a river cruise, we're no different. We have our specialty restaurant, except we don't charge for ours. It's completely complimentary, but it's a smaller group of guests that come and dine there. Everybody has a chance on board, so we'll take between 24 and 30 guests, and we have a tasting menu. So you get to enjoy 3 or 4 different appetizers, some different entrees, some different desserts, and there's some beautiful wines that go along with that.
Fantastic.
We have onboard entertainment as well. So after dinner, you don't have to go to bed. You can definitely come back to the main lounge. And on a 7-night cruise, we would have probably 3 nights that we would have entertaining people coming on board. It could be music like you see here with La Strada, who play a little bit of classical and a little bit not so classical. They do some gypsy music and some fun music like that. It's a lot of folk music from different areas that we travel, and definitely just from different regions, you really get to experience the true authenticity of the music from those areas. We have on board all of our ships a hair salon, and we do offer spa services. So if you'd like a really nice relaxing massage, then you've come to the right place. We can do that for you as well. And we have a fitness room. So not only do we have wellness programs, but we do have a fitness center for those that like to go to the gym. You'll find, the bikes, the treadmill, and the weights and whatnot that you can certainly take advantage of. In the nicer weather, of course, you can come up to the sun deck and enjoy that pool. And even during the holiday markets, believe it or not, that pool's open, but it's not cold water, it's warm water. We warm that up to hot tub temperature, and all of our staterooms are equipped with robes and slippers. So you can put that robe and slippers on, make your way up, climb into that swimming pool, put on a little hat in case it's snowing, and you can enjoy the scenery as you're cruising down the river.
Fantastic. This is actually one of the things I've really enjoyed, which is the focus on the wellness group classes, and encouraging people to be very active through, again, yoga, different classes, or spinning. I'm a big fan of spinning, and that's amazing to actually spin while you're sailing on a beautiful scenic view, surrounded by all those castles around you.
Absolutely. And in every single port, one of the things that sets AMA Waterways apart in the industry is the fact that we include all of our shore excursions. So you're going to be offered a choice of excursions that you can take in every port. And not only do you get a choice of your excursions, but you'll get a choice of the pace that you do them. So we have gentle paced, regular paced walking experiences. We have the active tours, and we even have late risers. So if you want to sleep in, you can certainly do so. There's always opportunities to immerse yourself in the local culture. And on the map, when we looked at it earlier, I had mentioned that some of our cruises will end in Vilshofen and some will go on to Nuremberg. If you are stopping in Vilshofen with us, we like to do our own Oktoberfest there. You're just outside of Munich. So we bring in a whole host of family, and right from the little ones up to the great grandparents, they will sing and dance and bring you lots of activity while you get to enjoy the beer and the pretzels and really feel the culture of the area that you're in.
If you're into cycling, one of the best things is you can actually cycle between the two different ports, and they're not especially, depends on the level of your physical preparation, whatever, in case if you're a cyclist or not. But this is something that definitely during the time that the weather is nicer would be something that it's so fun to do across the beautiful water. I'm jumping in a little bit further because I have another surprise for everyone, and I don't want to take up too much of everyone's time. So I'm just going to skip some of these ones. Obviously, the scenic adventures, the historic sites, authentic culinary experiences, and this is obviously truffle farm and truffle tasting as part of one of the itineraries in France, river cruising. But I wanted to stick to my promise and announce our surprise for today. I have a great friend of mine, MT. I think you popped in. I saw you joined in. Are you there? I saw you initially when you came in.
I'm here.
Okay. Hi.
Yep. Hi.
All right. Tell us about yourself.
Oh, that's the hardest question you can ask. I'm actually an MT. I own a fashion consultancy company here in Toronto called La Closet. And we do everything from personal styling, wardrobe help, shopping. We also represent many big retailers as our fashion consultants. We do so much. We do uniforms, everything. Yeah, so I love what I do.
All right, so you are going to tell us some styling and packing tips.
Okay, so I think after your great presentation and knowing that everything you do is about travel, I thought it'd be good to spend a few minutes just talking about some styling tips. And then once you have these styling tips in place, then we can go into one rule of thumb when it comes to packing. That's great. Okay, so quickly, and this can go on we can talk about this another time in a lot more detail on your Zoom. And this can go for men and for women, because I think I heard a man's voice earlier.
Well, we're mixed, I guess.
Yes, okay, great. So this can work for both. So when you want to work with your closet, we really want to, first of all, create your closet as a really calm place, like a very calm, very organized, not overwhelming, and really have stuff in there that you use. So let's kind of, there's a whole new topic I can talk about, how to clean your closet, but that can happen again. But one of the quick tips that I do, so you want everything in your closet that you wear. And for men and for women, I want you to place all your hangers in one direction. And then when you wear something, I want you to take it out, put it back, but put the hanger backwards. That way, when it comes to kind of going through your closet again in 3 or 6 months, I want you to take note of all the hangers that weren't moved. That tells you that those are pieces you have not worn, obviously, and that then they shouldn't be in your closet. So therefore, you can work with a closet of pieces that you do wear. Find a great tailor. Biggest thing that I tell people before they make any purchases or even using stuff in their closet is there's no point spending a lot of money on pieces if it doesn't fit you well. A lot of things with men as well and women, the men that break on the pants, if there's too many ripples, and the women who have the big cuffs, or again, the break is too much. All pants need to get tailored. Majority of pants for men and women, 99%, have to be hemmed. The great hemline for men, it could be cropped or just to graze, just to touch the shoe. And for women, the most stylish and most complimentary cut is actually to the ankle. You always want to show a little bit of skin. So a tailor, everything in your closet. Pants are too big in the waist, jackets for men that have too much material on the arm, same for women, shoulders that are droopy, blouses. Find a tailor. You can spend $1,000 on a Chanel piece. If it doesn't fit you well, it's no point. You can't just let the name and the price tag make your style. Or you can buy a piece at Zara that's $50 and it fits you perfectly. It would be amazing. Balance your top and bottom. So the rule of thumb is I call it the yin and yang of style, and this is probably more for women, is when you go tight on the bottom, go baggy on the top. Oversized shirts, bag your t-shirts, bigger jackets. If you go tight on the top, go looser on the bottom. And same with leggings. One thing I don't have on here, and I should, leggings are not pants. Leggings are specifically for home right now. I'm sure everyone's wearing them. The gym or yoga. They are not your cop-out, I call it, for making your outfit for the day. And a lot of people do that because it's autopilot. You just want to grab because you're comfortable with them. You know, just throw in a big top. But let's move away from leggings. We want to invest in styles that work for your lifestyle. So if you know that you have to wear a suit to work, make that piece quality. Same with a woman. If you need a black pant for work, that's when your investment pieces should happen. Mixing patterns. A lot of you and a lot of people I know are very intimidated by this. When it comes to mixing patterns, it's perfectly okay. Same with men as well, with shirts and ties, and for women, stripes with flowers, as long as the colors are in the same color zone. So, more of the neutrals. And with mixing patterns, you want to get more confident in doing that. And sometimes you just need a vote that, hey, I can do this, and then your confidence to walk out the door is fantastic. Accessories. Okay, so accessories. Rule of thumb, I would avoid wearing big necklaces with big earrings. It's too top heavy. And what I mean by that is that it'll just put all the emphasis and congest your neck. We want to always elongate our torso. Women that are bustier should not have a big heavy necklace that stops right above the bust line, because then the eyes go straight there. We want something that's longer. Earrings, again, if you have a shorter neck, I wouldn't do a big earring that kind of touches the shoulder. You want to create something that's longer. So a smaller earring or one that's leaner. Anything that's tarnished, gone. So bring a blazer. My number one piece is always have a blazer available for yourself. Everywhere, in the car, at your desk. It changes any look. So from jeans to a t-shirt to work, to a quick meeting, to go and pick up kids, to having to do a few errands, a blazer can change your whole look. And everyone needs a blazer. White shirt, I would say rather than a white shirt, I would say 5. I love white shirts. They can complement anything, especially for travel. Paired with skirts, overdresses, underdresses, men with denim. It's a fantastic piece. And you almost need, a couple styles, one that's tailored and one that's oversized. Experiment with layering. This is a tough one because a lot of my clients fear layering because they think it's going to make them bigger. And this goes for men and for women. How do I layer when you can see all the pieces? And there are, tricks to doing this. And layering is actually a great thing to do with some of your summer pieces. Don't always have to put your summer pieces away out of your closet. Take that yellow t-shirt, pair it underneath a gray sweater. Show it a little bit at the bottom. For men, it could be the same thing. T-shirts underneath sports jackets, women t-shirts underneath blazers. Layering is going to really make your closet a lot more versatile, because you don't just have to wear the same top and the pants and you think you're wearing the same thing. Add something to it or put something underneath. Sneakers, white sneakers. Yes, yes, yes. You think, I can't do that. I've never done it. I don't know how to do it. I can't wear them with dresses. Men, can I really wear them with a suit? Yes. Just wear them for a day and your confidence in wearing them will be fantastic. And especially for travel, for the airport and for all the walking that you do, and then for dresses or for pants. The rule of three. This pertains particularly to packing. When you pack, you really want to pick your clothing all in the same color tones. So this way you can do all your mixing and matching, and not so many patterns, because you want to be able to mix and match as well. You want to have the rule of three. So every piece you pack, you need to be able to wear 3 times. If it's a tank, wear it with, or a t-shirt for men, wear it with jeans, wear it with shorts, and for women you can wear it with a skirt. So that's 3 different ways to wear it. So that's how you're going to pack, to be able to wear every piece 3 times. And that way then it gives your travel wardrobe so much more versatility.
Fantastic.
That's it. Thanks.
Amazing, amazing. All right. So MT was very generous to offer a discount for those of you who are participating this evening. So I'll make sure that you get that offer in your mailbox. But MT, just wrap up your talk with us and say that a little bit of what are the things that you could do for those people on the call.
So we have been doing a lot of these through virtual meetings. So we do closet refreshes. So we always say, before you go buy any clothes, if you're confident to do this yourself, or if you need help, go through your closet. Be honest with yourself. Take out what you don't wear. Take out what's ruined or pilled. Take out things that are costumes. Like, take those all out and just keep in your closets what works best for your body type. We also offer personal shopping. Personal shopping, based on your budget, could be $100 to $1,000. I always recommend that you shop after you do your closet, because then you really know what you need. A lot of times you just tend to shop out of habit and picking the same things, and then you add it to your closet, and there you go again. A closet full of things that you don't wear. And you will need a lot less, because the new pieces can be added to what you already have, creating a larger wardrobe. And with the wardrobing, what we do is that we take your pieces and try to maximize the amount of looks that you have with them. So if we went shopping and bought a blazer for men, a sports jacket, and a blazer for women, I will kind of show you, and I'll take pictures of it, all the different ways you can wear it, with different tops and bottoms and accessorizing it. And then we send you the digital kind of album and all those looks that we've done. So we can make up to 40, 50 looks. We've done up to 70 looks for some clients. So they have like a different look every day for a month to 2 months, which is, I think, one of the strongest and most important things that some of our clients need.
Exactly, because we, instead of buying more pieces, let's find more ways to wear that piece of clothing that you have. Exactly.
And sometimes all you need is like a stylist or someone that you trust saying, yes, I can do this, I can wear this, it's acceptable, and then you're off.
All right, so we are at the very end of presentation. I wanted to leave you with a quote from someone anonymous that said, "We travel not to escape life, but for travel, but for life not to escape us." So I want to open up question. I already have few questions here. Actually, you know what? So I'm going to give those gifts to those people who ask questions first. So go ahead, ask your questions in the chat box, or if you want to unmute yourself, we'll be happy to answer those questions. But I'm just going through some of the questions that we have. Strange question: is eggnog served on board?
We have eggnog on board, yes.
What's the best market cruise for families?
You know, it's funny, the holiday markets, we do get a lot of multi-generational families that come on board, and whether it's the Rhine or the Danube, either one would be absolutely fine.
Does the cruise line permit 3 persons per cabin?
We do have a lot of ships that will offer triple accommodation, so that's absolutely something that we can do, yes.
All right, so Jennifer, Patrick, you get a gift. Who else gets a gift? Do you have certain departure dates?
The holiday markets in Germany, they are the ones that open, I'll say the latest, if you will. In Germany, the markets open up around the 28th to the 30th of November and stay open until the Sunday before Christmas, if it's the Sunday before the 25th of December. In Austria, in Hungary, in Slovakia, and other areas, you will find the markets opening right around, say, the 23rd, 24th-ish of November, and they will stay open right through until just before Christmas. A lot of the markets will close the 25th, 26th of December. And then in some areas, as we indicated earlier with the Danube, in some areas, the markets do open up again after Christmas, and they will be open until the new year.
There is another question around the Christmas market cruising, which I believe, Sandra, you actually responded to that, which is, do you offer different time of the year? Which is, you know, like if we're talking about Christmas market, well, not really, because it's around the Christmas time, but there are some Danube and Rhine and some other options that we didn't discuss, because there are some other options if you don't want to do Christmas markets river cruising. There are some very interesting, you know, France options, or if you want to do more like a wine tasting on Danube or Rhine during the summertime, that would be an option. If there are some questions about some pricing and details for future departures, I'll share that with you individually. But okay, so let's get back before I forget to the gift. So this is for Jennifer Patrick. It's a scarf. It's a beautiful turquoise color.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you so much.
I'll get your mailing address and send it to you. And then I guess the other questions were from Norda and who else? Norda and SJW. So I have a cap that I can send to you. This is a beautiful Alma Waterways cap. And I have a wallet that I'll send to you, Norda. All right, so you know, this is something that I've started these virtual travel tours since the COVID-19 lockdown, because I believe that we need to still dream and keep it positive for all of us, and keep learning about cultures, destinations. So next week I'll be talking about Antarctica, and so I have these virtual travel series weekly on Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next week is Antarctica. The following is south of Spain with a sommelier. So we're going to do some wine tasting. And then we're going to East Africa afterwards. And I'm finalizing more. One of the things on my radar is Sicily. Then Colombia. So they're all coming. You are in my mailing list, so I'll make sure that you get all of that. And so for those of you, Norda, if you please send me your mailing address and SJW for you as well, and I'll get you some pricing in future departures. So when I'm sending an email, I'll share some recipes with you and offer from MT and from La Cloisette, because we all need to reconsider and looking at our closet differently, and some other offers for my services as well. But thank you so much for spending your evening with us. I had an amazing time. I hope you had a great time as well. And send me your feedback. Let me know if there are things that could be improved. But have a great evening, everyone. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.